Hello and welcome to the first video on my second channel, and today I'm talking about the Steam Deck. So yeah, about 6 months ago on my main channel I made a video about my experience with the Steam Deck after 6 months, and it's been 6 months since that video, so it's been a whole year since I purchased the Steam Deck. So I thought I'd do a little video on my experience with it and how I feel about it, and I think it's a really good time to make a video like this considering the Switch 2 comes out next month. So yeah, this is going to be just a quick summary of my experience with it, the games I've been playing, the pros, the cons. So let's get straight into it. There are a few different models of the Steam Deck. There is the OLED model and the LCD model. I have the base version, which is the LCD 256 gig model, which is £359, which is actually a lot cheaper than the Switch 2 is going to be. I think it's like £50 cheaper. And yeah, I personally don't have a problem with having the base model, the LCD version. The only thing I am gutted about is the battery life. The OLED model has a bigger battery, and I think it lasts between 3 to 12 hours depending on the game, whereas the LCD version is 2 to 8 hours, I want to say. So yeah, there is a big difference in terms of battery life, and obviously the screen's a lot nicer on the OLED model, but I'm not too fussed about that. At the end of the day, the Steam Deck is a portable console. I don't really need a massive screen on it because it's that's the whole idea of it. It's a portable console. I mean, it would be nicer to have the OLED model for the screen, but I'm not too fussed about it personally. I know a lot of people care about graphics and frame rates. For me, it's not the end of the world if a game runs at 30 frames per second at medium graphics. It's absolutely fine as long as the game's playable and I have a decent experience playing it. I don't really care, but I know a lot of people do. So if you are looking for something that looks a bit crisper and runs at higher frame rates, definitely go for the OLED model. But if you're like me and you can take a knock on graphics for a cheaper price, then go for the LCD model because the storage is expandable as well, so you don't have to worry about being stuck with 256 gig like you do with the Switch 2, because let's face it, Nintendo's not going to let you install internal SSDs on that. But that's pretty much it in terms of models. There's only the LCD, the OLED model you got to worry about. You just got to weigh in what's more important to you. I would personally, if I was able to save a bit more money, get the OLED model just because it's the best. It's the best of the best. But yeah, if you do have to get the LCD model and you want it and it's the only one you can afford, get it. It's not that big of a drastic change that you're gonna be disappointed. There's not games that you can't play on the LCD model that you can play on the OLED model, if you know what I mean. It's not like buying a PS4 and a PS5. It's like buying a PS4 and a PS4 Pro. So you'll be fine with the LCD model. I've enjoyed it. I've had it for a year and I've got no complaints. So of course I need to talk about the games you'll be playing on the Steam Deck. Now for me, 6 months ago, all I played was the games on my Steam library and a few emulators, mostly the PS2 and GameCube emulators. I played it quite safe, but in the last 6 months I have tried to be a bit more, sounds weird saying experimental, but just trying new things and new ways to play games on the Steam Deck. Most notably non-Steam games, so games that you have to install on the browser, well, download off the browser and install in a different way and add them to your Steam library. So the old Need for Speed games I've been playing, which are amazing to be able to play Need for Speed Underground 1, 2 and Most Wanted with updated graphics, a better looking widescreen mode, newer cars, newer mods for cars, and just having this ultimate Need for Speed experience on the go as well. You don't have to just download an emulator and play the base game. You can mod it and add as many cars as you want. I've been playing Most Wanted Redo version 3. Sadly, it did corrupt my save file after being halfway through the game, which I am still kind of annoyed about. But yeah, being able to play Most Wanted with all these newer cars and newer mods, it's just been a great experience, and the same goes for Underground 1 and 2. I've really had a lot of fun going back and playing Underground 2. I played a large chunk of that game and I've enjoyed it on the Steam Deck. Another thing I need to mention is the way I play Jak and Daxter and Jak 2 on the Steam Deck. First, I played Jak and Daxter for the retrospective that I did on my main channel as an emulator on the PS2, but with Jak 2 I've been playing it through a program called Open Goal, which allows you to play Jak 2 and Jak and Daxter natively on the Steam Deck. It's not running through an emulator, it's playing off of the hardware, which is insane. So basically what these people have been able to do with Open Goal is translate the game from the PS2 version over to PC, so you can do things like mod, you can download created levels from other people, you can mess with the graphics and the frame rate and the resolution, do a lot of things, and the game looks absolutely insane on the Steam Deck version. It's the version I've been using to record footage for my retrospective for Jak 2, which will be coming out quite soon on the main channel, so go and check out the main channel down below. But yeah, it's been fun to play those games and they look insane. I have to play Jak 3 on the PS4 version for my Jak 3 video, and it looks like absolute dog shit compared to the Open Goal versions. So that's just another thing you can do. You can play PS2 games natively on the Steam Deck, which is insane. It's only those 2 games for now, but I'm sure it opens a door for more things like that, where people are making old games on like old consoles work on the Steam Deck and on PC, so you've got that to look forward to as well. Now when it comes to emulation, I only do PS2 and GameCube emulation. Anything higher than that, things start to get a bit tricky. PS3 and Xbox 360. Some games work, some games just do not work, but it's not a great experience if I'm being honest. I played Skate 3, the Xbox 360 version, and it worked to an extent, but it wasn't a great experience. So I wouldn't recommend trying to emulate games from that generation. Stick to PS2 and GameCube and you'll be absolutely fine, and obviously anything before that will work even better. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun emulating a lot of my favourite PS2 games, the Tekken games of course. So yeah, the Steam Deck is a great option for emulation, and obviously you wouldn't be able to do that on the Switch 2 unless it's the online pass with the GameCube games. But even then, you can just play whatever you want on this in terms of old emulation. So yeah, get 2 thumbs up for that as well. Emulation works perfectly fine on it, so yeah, you've got that to look forward to as well. Now in terms of actual Steam games, a lot of newer games which have a big focus on multiplayer just won't work. So FC25, the Crew Motorfest, games like that don't work. It's a hit or miss, because WWE 2K24, I play that and I've been able to have a decent experience with that. It works straight away, you don't have to mess with any options or anything like that, you can play that absolutely fine. But yeah, some games just do not work on it, and it's a shame, but I can live without FC25, I can live without the Crew on the Steam Deck. But it can play Forza Horizon 5, it can play WWE 2K24, it can play a lot of new games. But what you're going to notice over the next few years, as newer games come out, the Steam Deck's going to be able to play them, but the graphics are going to have to keep coming down and down and down, because Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered works on the Steam Deck. I saw someone playing it on YouTube, and that's the one thing I wanted to say in this video. Games on the Steam Deck are a bit hit or miss. Sometimes games will just not work on there, but some games will say that they're unsupported, but they work perfectly fine. The Need for Speed games all say unsupported, but I've had no trouble playing them without any messing with the options or anything like that. So best thing to do, if there's a game you want to play on the Steam Deck, do a bit of research, look it up on YouTube, use proton.db, the website. It's essentially like people will play a game on the Steam Deck and leave like a little review on if they thought it worked, if it didn't work, or how they got around it not working. So just look up things like that. Look on YouTube to see if people have played that game. No matter how obscure the game is, someone's played it. I looked up Homefront, the THQ shooter from 2011, and the Prototype, just to see if it worked on the Steam Deck, and there were videos on those games to see if they would work. So yeah, just always look up online before you buy a game if you're worried about it not running. You can always, there's so many different channels that do like reviews on games and performance tests on games. So yeah, always do a bit of research on the games you're downloading, and most of them are going to work. Just some newer games with online capabilities aren't going to. So that's one thing to note about the Steam games on the Steam Deck. Touched on mods a little bit in my original video 6 months ago. I mean, to be honest with you, when it comes to mods, all I've really done is played custom zombie maps on Black Ops 3. I still do that now. It's still tons of fun. Being able to just install them off the workshop straight onto the Steam Deck, it's so easy to do, and having the option to play all these random zombie maps on Black Ops 3, it's the dream. Honestly, I've always loved playing custom zombie maps my gaming PC from a few years ago struggled to run them at sometimes, but being able to play them all on the Steam Deck with the click of a button, it's just been great. And I'm sure you can probably mod other games. I haven't done that myself. It's not something I'm going to do, just because I like to try and keep the storage on my Steam Deck clean and not full of just shit everywhere. So when it comes to modding, I've stuck to what's on the workshop. But the fact that you can do that anyway on a handheld console, you can play modded custom zombie maps, is just insane to me, and I've really enjoyed it. So that's still a massive pro for the Steam Deck as well. I think I've spoken about what I wanted to speak about in terms of games. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of games you can play on the Steam Deck, which means you're going to need a lot of storage, especially if you're like me and you're downloading about 3 or 4 games that are 100 gig plus in terms of storage. You're going to struggle a lot if you've got a 256 gig model like me. I have the 256 gig model with a 512 micro SD, and I struggle a lot with storage. I have about 4 games installed on there at the minute, and I'm struggling for storage. So that's one thing to note. The storage is always upgradable, whether that be with a micro SD or an internal SSD. Now, I personally would go for upgrading the SSD. It's cheaper. You do have to take the Steam Deck apart. You do have to reinstall the OS on it, but it's cheaper and it's faster. So if I were to upgrade it in the future, I'm probably going to get a 2TB SSD, because the micro SDs are a bit more expensive. So it just makes sense to do the SSD first, then upgrade the micro SD in the future. But yeah, just remember, it's always upgradable, so you don't have to be stuck with 256 gig for the rest of the time you have a Steam Deck, unlike the Switch 2. But that's one thing to note as well. The storage is always upgradable. You never have to worry about running out of storage and never having to be able to upgrade it. As of right now, I'm just installing, reinstalling, uninstalling games, which I do a lot of, which is getting a bit tedious, but I don't mind it. And I can't wait to upgrade it, but it's something that I'm not in a rush to do. But yeah, it's always there. The option is always there to upgrade the storage. So even if you have to buy a second-hand 64 gig model, you can upgrade it in the future and have a 2TB. You can even have 4TB of storage on here. So never worry about memory space when deciding what Steam Deck to buy, because it's not really a problem. The thing I want to touch on is battery life and charging. Now, I play the Steam Deck at max probably 2 hours a day. That's if I'm lucky. Normally it's between half an hour and an hour, and obviously the battery life is absolutely fine for that. If you are someone who's going to be playing it for long amounts of time without charging it, then go for the OLED model. Don't even look at the LCD model. But if you're like me and you're only going to play it for like 2 hours max a day, it's not a problem. I've not had a game that's drained the battery so much that I've run out of battery straight away. I've been playing Forza Horizon 5, which has been almost 3 hours battery life from 100%, so it's more than enough for me. I'm never going to play it longer than that. Even if I was going on a plane on holiday, the max I'd probably go is to Spain for, like, I think the flight's like 2 hours 50, so the battery's going to last the whole flight journey, which I'm absolutely fine with. I'm alright with that. Obviously, if you play a game that has lower requirements, say an old game like Far Cry 3 or Half-Life 2, then the battery's going to last a lot longer. But there are tricks to getting games to run for longer. It's all a balancing act. You've got to balance the graphics and the frame rate with the battery life. Do you want better graphics and frame rate? You're going to get less battery life. Do you want to have more battery life? You're going to have less graphics and frame rate. It's as simple as that. Now, me personally, I'm okay with the graphics and frame rate taking a hit. I don't mind a game running at 45 frames per second on medium settings if it means I'm going to get 3 hours battery life, as opposed to high settings, 60 FPS, and an hour and a half. I'd rather have the much more battery life. But I know a lot of people will not play a game under 60 frames per second, but trust me, it's a lifesaver putting that game down to 45, even 30 frames per second, because it saves so much battery. And you can mess with other settings as well. There's so many tutorials for different games, what's the best settings to run those games at. So yeah, just do your research with every game, utilise the power of the Steam Deck to the best of its abilities. There is a game profile thing you can click on, so what that will do is change the Steam Deck settings to that specific game. So every time you click on that game, it'll change the power limit, it'll change the frame rate. So yeah, just utilise the device to the best of its abilities for what you want. Do you want more battery life, or do you want higher graphics and a higher frame rate? But that's one thing to consider as well. It's just a balancing act, so just get what's right for you. Now in terms of charging, it takes about 2 to 3 hours to charge from like a low battery, so like say 15-30% battery. It takes about 2.5 to 3 hours. If it's dead, it'll probably take about 3.5 hours. What I do is I'll just get up in the morning, I'll charge it whilst I'm editing a video, and then by the time I leave the house, it's ready. It's 100% battery's charged. If you want to play it whilst it's charging, you can do that. It's safe to do it. It's not going to ruin your battery. Once it's plugged in, I think the Steam Deck runs off of the charger, and then your battery just charges in the background, so you're not going to damage your battery by playing it whilst it's charging. Yeah, it's not that bad. I've not really been too disappointed with the battery life or the charging, so it's fine. A year later, it still charges just as it did out the box. The battery life lasts as long as it did out the box, so there's nothing really to complain about in terms of battery life. So yeah, that's still great. So that's one thing to be positive about. The last thing I want to touch on when it comes to the Steam Deck is something I found out. When it comes to getting a dock, which is either the official dock or an unofficial dock to play your Steam Deck on your TV, do not buy a cheap one like me, because the quality of this is absolutely horrendous. What I will say is just, you don't have to buy the most expensive one, but do a bit of research. Don't just look for the cheapest option like I did, because it doesn't look great at all. It looks like it's just stretching the image from the Steam Deck screen. It doesn't look like it's actually just putting it on the display, if you know what I mean. So yeah, do a bit of research when it comes to docking the Steam Deck. Get a decent one. If you can, get the Steam Deck official one, but there are a lot of third parties that do decent ones out there. I was just trying to be a bit of a cheapskate and pay less than £10 for this one. It comes with a nice little case. It's very nicely packaged, and it feels decent. Like it's a good quality make. I don't know what that's proving there. I don't know why I'm doing that. It's nice, a nice little metal finish, but when it comes to actually putting it on the TV, it's absolute dog shit. So make sure that you are paying a decent price for your Steam Deck dock, and you're doing a bit of research on how it looks, because you might end up like me and getting a really crappy one and just not using it at all. So yeah, that's one thing to consider. So after a year with the Steam Deck, do I regret buying it? Of course not. It's the main console I play now. I rarely touch my Xbox or PlayStation. This is what I play. Obviously the Switch 2 comes out very soon. Should you buy a Steam Deck or a Switch 2? My personal opinion, I couldn't give two shits about the Switch 2. I love my Nintendo Switch, but I'm not that fussed that the Switch 2 is coming out, because I've got the Steam Deck. If you are a Nintendo fan, then obviously you're going to go for the Switch 2. But if you're on the fence, you don't know what to buy next, you're you play a lot of third-party games, you just looking for something to play portably, you don't have to go for the the old faithful Nintendo or the PC Steam Deck. Get the Steam Deck. I'm not a PC player, but the Steam Deck is so easy to use. It's just like having a console. Yes, you have to play around with some settings on some games to get them to work, but honestly, if I can do it, anyone can. Just do your research online before you buy a game or you play a game on the Steam Deck, and you'll be absolutely fine. The storage is upgradable, the battery life is absolutely fine. I've got nothing but positive things to say about the Steam Deck. I was trying to find something negative to say, and all I could find was the dock that I bought was shit, which isn't the Steam Deck's problem, that's my problem. But honestly, if you are on the fence about buying a Steam Deck or a Switch 2, get a Steam Deck. I'm not regretting not buying a Switch 2. I'm not going to be jealous of anyone who has a Switch 2. I'm sure it's going to have some great games on it, especially first party games, but I'm happy with the Steam Deck. If you're thinking about the two, get the Steam Deck. You're not going to regret it. I've had tons of fun playing it over the last year. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fun to be had over the next few years, but if there's any updates, then I will make it on this video, on this channel here. Yeah, that is it for today. My first video on my second channel. These videos aren't going to be scripted. They're just going to be me chatting shit in front of the camera whilst playing games in the background. If you do want my more scripted videos, my retrospectives are on my main channel. I've done Tekken, Saints Row, Dead Rising, and I'm currently doing the Jack and Daxter series. It's a lot more structured, has a script. I do a few skits here and there, but yeah, those are a ton of fun, but they take a long time to make. So that's what this second channel is for, just for me to just chat shit, get a few things off my mind and talk about a few different games rather than sticking to the one series. I can make a video on The Crew or GTA or FIFA or whatever I want to talk about. So that's what this channel is going to be. So that is it for the first video on my second channel. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a like and please subscribe and comment down below. Are you getting a Steam Deck? Do you have a Steam Deck? Do you agree or disagree with what I've said? Are you getting a Switch 2? Tell me why below. Yeah, please just comment. I like interacting with everyone in the comments down below, and please support this channel and also the main channel where I do a lot of my retrospectives. Yeah, just please support the channel. It helps a lot. It's a big motivator for me to see people interacting with you. I'd rather have 100 views with 10 comments than 1,000 views with 0 comments. So please, just if you've enjoyed, please leave a little comment down below and I'll try and get back to as many of you as possible. I probably will get back to all of you because I'm not going to get like 1,000 comments, so I'm going to get back to most of you on this channel. But yeah, please support both channels by subscribing and leaving a like and a comment down below. But that is it for this first video on my second channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm probably rambling on and repeating myself a lot, but yeah, thank you, and as always, I'll see you when I see you.